Let's start then with quality time. Okay, the child whose love language is quality time, and not even the child. You know, if you've got a partner whose love language is quality time, or you know, if you've got a colleague at work or something whose love language is quality time, they come across to us as the high maintenance people. All right, they come across as like, you know, they just always need your attention, and they can feel a bit high maintenance. But here's the thing. They don't need a lot of your time. They just need all of your time when you give them your time. You might only have 5 minutes, but in those 5 minutes, I need all of you, all of you. They don't necessarily need your time, they need your full attention, because time only becomes quality time if it has your full attention. The difference between time and quality time, the difference between those two words or those two sentences is how much of your attention did I have. If I didn't have 100% of your attention, it doesn't class as quality. Okay? So this person, this child, you know, whatever it might be, doesn't need a lot of time, but when you give them time, it's got to be quality. And the only way it's quality is I have your full attention. I need to feel like nothing else exists in the whole world right now other than me and you. This is it. All right, it could be 30 seconds. All right, so ways that you can, you know, again, I mean, I think that one's straightforward. Do you guys need to give me some examples on that? I mean, quality time. It's just even saying things like, let's say, for example, your child comes out to you, and you know, their love language is quality time, and they come out to tell you something or to show you something. And let's say you are in the middle of something. You're in the middle of texting someone or Facebooking or whatever, or a phone call or whatever it might be. It's perfectly fine to ask them to wait. So what you do is you say, hey, listen, just give me a moment. I'm just in the middle of something, but I want to be able to give you my full attention on this. This is something I really want to hear about. So give me 2 minutes, or give me, and not just in a minute, but a minute never comes. And not just, oh, give me 2 minutes, but 2 minutes is 10 minutes. Be real. Listen, I'm going to need about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so give me 10 minutes. You're welcome to come back and check with me in 10 minutes. I might need 15. I'll give you that. You know, but if I haven't finished by the 15-minute mark, I'm all yours regardless. Okay, but I'm going to need 10 minutes. And they actually love that. They respect that, because what they see in that is, oh, well, I know I have to wait for it, but I'm happy to wait. I'm prepared to pay the price if I'm going to get everything I want, which is all of their attention. And I love the fact that my mum isn't just, or my dad isn't just going, oh yeah, and they're doing one thing. I mean, the way you violate them is doing something at the same time as you're trying to give them some time. You can make physical contact, then tell them you will come get them. That's another good way. Absolutely. Yeah, that's another good way, you know. Definitely. So if you don't have the time right now, don't try to give them time if you don't have the time. You know, don't try to be doing one thing and talking to them at the same time. They're not going to feel like it's quality. You're better off to say, listen, I don't have the time right now. At this moment, I can't give you my attention, but what you're about to do or say, or, you know, what you've got to say is important to me, and I want to be able to give you my full attention on that. So let's have that conversation after dinner, or, you know, you make it almost like an appointment. And then when you get to the conversation, they get all of you. All right? And that goes with anyone, not just children, but, you know, partners or whatever it might be. Everyone got it? Understand? Type on the screen. Say yes, yes, yes. Let me know you got that. Or if you don't, ask a question. Thanks for the love hearts, by the way. Thanks for the love hearts. I appreciate that. I'm feeling the love, guys. All right, beautiful. We got that. Okay. So for those of you who are new to Periscope, if at any point you like what I'm saying, or you agree, or you believe that you're getting value, you just double tap your screen and you'll see some love hearts come up. And the more you like it, the more you double tap. So the more you double tap means the more you like it. And that's how I get feedback on what the audience wants and how I can provide more value to you. So thanks all of you. This is going to help me with my son. I have to admit, I get frustrated when he demands my attention. Absolutely. So you just start saying no to sometimes, no, you can't have my attention right now. And that's okay. They're not supposed to be able to get access to you all the time. You've got to teach them some life skills as well. The world won't fall at your feet. You're going to have to wait for that. But here's the deal. You're going to have to wait, but when you get my attention, you're going to get all of it. I'll only have 2 minutes to give you, but you'll get the whole of me in that 2 minutes. All right, so let's now go on to gifts. Okay, so another love language is gifts. And these people just, they feel so loved every time you buy them something. All right, it can be time management will be another topic that we do. I will do a whole. If you live in Adelaide, make sure you get to this coming Sunday. I've got an event on, not just for parents but for anyone and everyone, personal development and spiritual expansion. And actually the promotion for that will go out tonight just after this Periscope, so be looking out for that. I'll be teaching a lot of time management there. Now, gifts. Another love language is gifts. So this is the person that just and they hold everything so sentimentally. They won't let you throw anything out. You can go through a whole lot of things they've got in their house or their bedroom or their office or their desk, and they could literally tell you who bought them that and what birthday that got bought for. And because to them, the gifts are an expression of love. That's how they receive love. Okay, so for the child or the person whose love language is gifts, it doesn't matter how much you tell them you love them, how much time you try to have with them, how much you touch them and cuddle them and kiss them and everything else. The only way they understand love and receive love is through you buying things or giving them, not necessarily buying gifts, but giving them gifts. What it does is it lets them know, I was thinking of you when you weren't around today, because that's what gifts are. They are a symbol of thoughts we had for someone when they weren't around. And that's what they love to know. They love to know that I'm present with you all the time. I love to know that when we aren't together, I'm still in your mind. That's what makes them feel loved. Beautiful. Baltimore, awesome. Are you from Baltimore? What is your name? Do me a favor. Let me know your name. I can see your username there, but I'm not sure what your first name is, so I'd love to know. So with these people that have a love language of gifts, it's not just buying them things. I mean, it could be tiny things, the tiniest thing, like a stamp or a sticker or something, but you don't even have to buy. Troy, thank you, Troy. You can make them something, or even just give them something that was yours that you were going to throw out. For me, my eldest, she loves getting gifts. And even when I give her my old lip glosses, she's over the moon with that. She feels so loved. And, she can tell you a whole lot of, gifts that she's got and who gave them to her. They really mean a lot to them, okay? So gifts are just, show me you were thinking of me when I wasn't around. That's essentially what that is. And that's how that person feels loved, okay? Now, the final love language is acts of service. And for this person, it doesn't matter how much you tell me you love me, how much you buy for me, how much you touch me, none of that says that you love me to me. You may as well talk in Chinese. The only way that I perceive love if I'm an acts of service is by what you do for me, by the effort you go to for me. I don't need to hear it. I'll know you love me by what I see you do. So for this person, it's making them breakfast, or, it could be something as simple as, even for your child, something as simple as, doing up a shoelace for them. Not because they can't do it themselves. It can be something very, very simple. Or I'll go out of my way to do this for you. But they love to be served. They don't need your full attention. They don't need you to be sitting beside them, giving them all of you or anything like that. They just need to know that you went out of your way a little bit for them, or you went to some effort. Like making them meals and things like that. Not standard meals, not the daytime, I have to make you breakfast and lunch and dinner type meals. But things outside of your parent responsibilities, if you're talking about children. This one can be tricky to balance. Tell me what you mean by that, Nat. Tell me what you mean. But by what you mean by tricky to balance. Tell me what you mean by that, and I'll definitely help you on that. Hey there, Joy. I just seen you just jumped on the line. Good to have you. So, acts of service. You know what? Some of you out there are acts of service people, and you know what I'm talking about right now. So let's open up this conversation. Go ahead and write in your phone right now, what are the kind of things that you love people to do for you if you are an acts of service person in terms of your love language? Keeping them independent yet showing them love. Oh yeah, okay, perfect. I totally get what you mean now. It's good if you know your own love language. It reduces your stress. Absolutely, definitely does, Troy. Thank you. So what Natalie Papuano said was totally right. There's a fine line between disabling their responsibility and their independence, and so what I say is do something for them that they can't really do for themselves. So it might be something like I don't know, making them a meal, but making them their favorite meal. You know, make them something, and just point it out. If you were going to make spaghetti for dinner tonight anyway, but you know that that's their favorite meal, just highlight that. Say, guess what we're having for dinner tonight? I know that your favorite meal is spaghetti. So guess what I decided to make for dinner tonight? Make them feel like it's for them. Yep, text messages is another thing. But anything where you go out of your way. So, you know, if you've got a child or someone that's a little bit older, it might not be things like, you know, doing up their shoelaces and stuff, because you don't want to because that then tells them, well, I don't think you're good enough. I don't think you can do this here. I can do it better than you. Let me do it. Okay. So you've got to definitely be able to determine, depending on the age of the child you're talking about, what's going to stop their independence and therefore build their self-esteem, and what's going to be an act of service. But making them their favorite meal, you know, taking them somewhere. So it's not about where you just. For someone who loves quality time, it doesn't matter where we go. It doesn't matter where we go. I just need to be with you, and I need all your time. For someone with acts of service, take me to my. It's not about the fact that we're going out. It's about the fact you're taking me to my favorite playground, or you're taking me to my favorite shop that I love to shop at, and you're going to go out of your way for that, or you're going to move an appointment for that, or something like that. All right. So if you want detail on what we've covered in all of the 5 love languages, I've got an article on my website, hollynoonan.com. If you go there, click on Powerful Parenting at the top. Once you've clicked on Powerful Parenting, go down to, there's an article that I didn't post too long ago called The 5 Love Languages. And in there, it will describe in detail everything I've covered. I've made it specific to children, but you can also apply it all to... Yeah, absolutely. Yep, the 20-80 rule for sure. Yep, allowing your child to talk first is an act of service. Absolutely. But there's an article there, and then under each love language, I've got a big list, not just a couple of things, a big list of different ways that you can show that child in their language. Remember, they don't understand things in your language. You'll find it easy to show love in your language, but they need to hear it in theirs. Roughly, that a child is mature enough to discuss. When you say to discuss, Kerry Ann, what do you mean by discuss? Do you mean discuss love languages? Or tell me what you mean by that. What's an appropriate... anytime. If you want to know what your child's love language is and you're not sure, again, go read that article, because I've got a question there that you can ask them. And you just ask them, you know, let's say, let me give an example of how you ask a child a question that can then give you a good idea of what their love language is. Bearing in mind that we all need a bit of everything. It's like a personality type. We all are a bit of every color or a bit of every personality type, but we have dominant ones, okay? And so, same with love languages, all right? So if you're not sure, ask, when you say, this is the easiest way. Say, I love you. They go, I love you too, right? You say, you know, how do you know I love you? Or you say, I love you, and they go, yeah, I know. The question is, how do you know I love you? Well, I just do. Yeah, I know you know I love you, but how do you know? And the response that you'll get, again, in the article, I've got it in detail. If they say, well, because you always buy me things, or if, you know, then you know their love language is gifts, because that's what holds true to them. That's the greatest expression of love that you can show them, and so that's the first thing that comes to mind. Or it might be, oh, you always do nice things for me, and you always take me to basketball, and you always make my favorite dinners. That's an acts of service child. You know, they might go, well, because you always say really nice things and you always tell me that I'm really clever, or whatever it might be. You know, that's a words of affirmation child. So, you know, or because you always play games with me, you always play roly-poly, and you always throw me in the air, you know, because you always give me cuddles and kisses. That's a child whose love language is touch. Okay? So just by asking them a question and paying really close attention to the answer, because you always spend time with me. If a child says, because you always spend time with me, guess what their love language is? Quality time. All right? So just ask that question. And if you want more detail on everything we've covered, then go to my website and read that article, all right? And please, if you have questions, in hollynoonan.com, I would love to answer them, okay? So make sure you go to hollynoonan.com in Facebook, my Facebook page, because in there, please ask me questions. I love it. You know, some of you send me private messages and your questions are incredible. And the question you're asking is a question that 1,000 other parents could benefit from. So instead of sending me a private message, if you're happy and open about that being public, whatever your question is, and also you'll get more of a response time, you'll get a better response and a faster response from me if you do it through the Facebook page. I'm actually going to be setting up a Facebook group very shortly where everyone can share. You know, now this network now is getting so good and so many people getting so big and so many people are having such great value, not just from myself, but I might share a principle, but then a parent tells a story on how they applied that principle and how well it worked in their life or whatever it might be. And that is what makes a difference to another family. It wasn't me, it was you. It was your story. It was the fact that you might have heard the principle from me, but don't give me the credit, because it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to receive it. It's another thing to do something with what you heard. So once you have actioned a principle, full credit goes to you, and your story, you know, is the reason sometimes that another family tries it. You know, it's not because they heard it from Holly, it's because they read it from another mum who they feel is in the same situation they're in. Because sometimes the downside of, you know, being seen as the expert is that people don't relate. They go, oh yeah, but it's different for you. Oh yeah, but I just see you differently and I'm not like you. And they sometimes switch off. So understand the power in your story can literally bless another family because they see themselves as you. So please share your stories. Please ask your questions. I'll respond to, you know, everything that I possibly can. And if you get to it before me, please help. You know, if you've asked me a question before and I've given you an answer and it worked for you, and then you see someone else ask that question and you know what I had mentioned to you or what had worked, don't even wait for me to respond. I'm going to set up a group so that we can all really start interacting based on the same principles that we're covering in these Periscopes in the workshop. So that's it for tonight. These last couple of Periscopes have been a bit longer because we've had more detail, and I promised you that I'd cover it in detail with regards to love languages. But I do want to know that as of the next Periscope, I'll be making sure that we go back to, keeping these to 10 minutes, all right? I think it's really important that we keep them short so that you never feel like you need a whole lot of time available for them. Every now and then, for sure, I'll do what I've done now. I'll go into some more detail in particular topics. But I've got about 10 topics that I cannot wait to talk about. And as I'm doing all these workshops like what we did last night, and what we did on, you know, what we're going to do this Sunday night at the personal development workshop, you know, I'm loving what's happening in an audience, and it's showing me, you know, what people need, what people need access to, and that's helping me know what topics are hot right now, what topics people are getting value from. So thank you to all of you who contribute in every single way that you can. The link is about to go up for this coming Sunday. If you happen to live in Adelaide, this coming Sunday, Personal Development and Spiritual Expansion, I've titled the workshop Feed Your Soul, Settle Your Spirit, and Unbecome. It's going to be a series of workshops. But until next time, here's what I want you to do. I want you to leave here tonight with courage. I want you to depart from here with courage. The courage to believe in a better way, the courage to voice what you've got to say, the courage to thrive when times are tough, and above all else, the courage to know you are good enough. Good night, everyone.